it's Friday. Before we start though, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to my good friend Dave, known to you as Mastermind Dave, the back room of RTO, the unsung hero of this channel, does a lot of back work. So happy birthday to Dave. So, as it's Friday, where I live at the moment, I'm sort of between two main roads, and we get so many ambulances come up and down here, so just had another one go past. Anyway, where was we? Yes, Ultravox today. Ultravox Live, one of my favourite 80s bands, 70s bands. I like both eras. I like that post-punk era with John Fox, and I like the Mature-led years. Formed in 1974, and they were really big between 1980 and 1986. Then they split up, and then Billy Currie put together a new band, including Sam Cross and the guitarist from Dare, Vinnie Burns, and they weren't very successful. But then they had the proper reunion in 2010. Or 2008, sorry. Then they released an album in 2010. They did a solo tour, got the solo tours, and then they did some dates with Simple Minds, and then they called it a day in 2017. They've released 5 official live albums, but I have got an honourable mention for us today. So let's have a look at these live albums. So coming in at number 5, album recorded in Italy back in 1993. It was released in 1995, and it is called Future Picture. This album features Gary Williams on the bass, Tony Holmes on the drums, Vinnie Burns on guitars, Billy Currie on the keyboards and viola, and Sam Blue on vocals. Out tracks on this album are Dancing with the Tears in My Eyes, Reap the Wild Wind, All Stood Still. Then we've got Slow Motion Distance, which is off the album they put out. The Voice, Integrity, Ideals, Vienna, Give It All Back, Future Picture Forever, The Silent Cries, One More Small Day, and Lament. Okay, this is a pleasant album. It sounds really good. The actual music sounds great. These guys do these classic Ultravox tracks great. The songs that are on the album, Integrity, that they do on this live album are really good. They sound a lot better live, a little bit more heavier than in the studio. But I do have a little bit of a problem with Sam Blue singing Vienna and the classic songs. I mean, he's a great singer, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't sound right. But he did a good job. I'm not going to deny that. But to me personally, it doesn't sound right. Yet the tracks that he recorded sound brilliant. He's a good singer. So it's just an album that I haven't got. I have listened to it a couple of times, but I don't think I'll be getting it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 4, I have an album released in 2021, and it's Live at the Rainbow in 1977. Recorded in February 1977 at the Rainbow Theatre. This features Chris Cross on the bass and backing vocals, John Fox on lead vocals, Stevie Shears on guitars, and Warren Cann on the drums, Billy Currie on the violin and keyboards. So you've got all the post mid-year stuff on this. It's a terrific album. We get I Came Back Here to Meet You, Modern Love, Slip Away, TV Orphans, I Won't Play Your Game, Wide Boys, really good live. Saturday Night in the City of the Dead is great. The Wild, the Beautiful and the Damned, and Dangerous Rhythm. Okay, the recording's a little bit groggy in places, but I don't care because it features the John Fox era of Ultravox. All these songs sound great live. I'd say these are the definitive versions of these songs. Every one is solid. It's a great little album, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 3, we've got an album released in 1991, and it is BBC Radio 1 Live in Concert 1981. All the tracks are recorded on the 14th of January at the famous Parish Theatre in London. This features the classic lineup of Chris Cross on the bass and synthesizers, Warren Can on drums, Billy Currie on synthesizers and piano, and Midge Ure on the guitars and vocals and synthesizers. This one opens up with the New Europeans, great track, even better live, Passing Strangers, Mr. X, which is a great track anyway and it sounds even better live, All Stood Still's great, Sleepwalk, all classics now, Vienna and Astrodyne. Very short little album, but some really good versions of these songs. Not the best production though, but it's quite nostalgic. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, then coming in at number 2, I have an album. This was a mini album released in 1983, and it's Monument. It came out. There was a video that came out as well. It was recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon. Also on here, we got a studio track. But in 1999, they reissued this on CD and they expanded it, containing all the songs from the video, which was brilliant. But not the entire concert. But so basically, the CD, which I have now got, has got all the stuff that was on the VHS video. So we got that classic lineup, of course, of Warren Can, Chris Cross, Billy Currie, and Midge Ure. And joining them on stage doing backing vocals was Danny Mitchell and Colin King, known as the Messengers. So this one opens up with Monument, that studio track, which is quite moving. It's got this sort of keyboard that runs through it all the way through. Really good track. I really like that track. Then we get Reap the Wild Wind, Visions in Blue, The Voice, which is the best version of The Voice. The reason I love this, and I think everybody must have seen the video, it's on YouTube, is when they do the drumming. Absolutely brilliant. That bit at the beginning, it'll be in the playlist. It has to be there because it's just absolutely stonking. Vienna, really good. Passing Strangers live is always brilliant. Mine for Life, which is one of my favourite sort of tracks that's not a single. Him and the song We Go. This is great. It was so nice to get the sort of the extra tracks added. Sounds really good now, even today, and play this one quite a lot. And I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 8.4. Okay, my number 1. This is the 2010 album Return to Eden, live at the Roundhouse in London. This is the first reunion tour. Billy Currie, Warren Can and Chris Cross and Midge Ure, of course. Opens up with the best version of Astrodyne that I've got. Absolutely brilliant on here. Play it superb. So just a great track. Passing Strangers, brilliant. Mr. X, The Thin Wall, brilliant version of that. I Remember Death in the Afternoon, solid version. Raging Eden is brilliant on here. Lament, One Small Day, probably the best version of Vienna Live that I've got. Really good. Dancing with Tears in My Eyes. Him, Sleepwalk and The Voice, nearly as good as the one from Hammersmith in '82. Sounds really good. I just love this. The production on this is superb. They took them songs, them classic songs, got more modern technology, and they sound even better live than on Monument. Midge's vocals are brilliant on this. It's just a great, great album, and I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, there is an honourable mention today, and I don't know how this is not an official Ultravox live album. It's Tour 2012, recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon. Again, it's Billy, Warren, Chris and Midge. This has got stuff off the album Brilliant on it as well. So we've got Brilliant, which is even better live. Now, when I heard it, obviously I've got the studio version. It's a good track, but the live version of this is even better. It's just absolutely brilliant. New Europeans, probably the best version of that I've got. Mr. X is superb on this. Reap the Wild Wind, Visions in Blue, Change, White China, great tracks. Rise, Sleepwalk, The Voice, Live, We Stand Alone, The Thin Wall, Lament, I Remember Death in the Afternoon, Vienna, Flow, One Small Day, really good version. Passing Strangers, another great version. And the only live version I've got of Love's Great Adventure, great live. A little bit more atmosphere to it. The studio version's great, but the keyboards on this sound a little bit different. They've changed it a little bit and it sounds really good. All Stood Still, always a great track live. Hymns, brilliant live. Dancing with Tears in My Eyes and Contact. It's a great album. You know, it's the stuff off Brilliant sounds great live. Throw a few of the classics in. It's a great album. Really well produced. The sound is brilliant on this. So there we are. That's a bit of Ultravox live. If you haven't heard the John Fox live album, go and check that one out if you like that early stuff. They're just a great band live. Didn't get to see them unfortunately, but I still like the band and they will always be one of my favourite 80s new wave bands. Okay, that's all for this. I'll be back later with a new album review, and this week we are looking at the new Def Leppard album Diamond Star Halos. So join me for that, and I will see you later. Bye for now.